Okay, so we're back.
Yes, that was random. So we got. Do we want to explain what happened, or?
Yeah, somebody flagged the video for no freaking reason.
Yep,
And
then
got
we
us
put in
kicked
an
off of
appeal.
YouTube temporarily.
Yep, and then YouTube looked at the video and went, "This is fine," and put it back up. But it's missing about half an hour of the stream because we didn't notice we were kicked off of YouTube for about half an hour. So we're probably going to have to bring it over from Twitch.
Yeah, so we're going to have to stitch everything together. We're really sorry about that because it was still live and it was still streaming to Twitch. It was just kicked off of YouTube because somebody decided to flag it.
False flag it, as we have had confirmed. Don't false flag, it's rude. So that happened.
Rude.
Yes, but we're just going to go from where we left off on Twitch because we're not going over half an hour's worth of discussion again.
I'll also just go ahead and say false flagging stuff won't make me like you.
Yes.
Anyway.
It's the YouTube viewer equivalent of Mark.
Yeah.
And we don't like Mark.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Yep. So, yeah, we got up to where they find Adam Eckhart's car and it's empty and there's blood everywhere and there's some of Mark's blood and there's some of his blood and they're like, and Faith is like, Mark's still alive. I know it. I'd know if he was dead. And they're like, I don't know.
That's not how that works.
Yep. Then they're walking along and then they find Adam Eckhart's body and he has a hole in the back of his neck. So they're like, okay, well, Mark wasn't dead when he killed Adam Eckhart. They know that much.
Yeah.
They didn't actually kill him in the apartment like they thought they did.
Yeah.
So, or the house. So they bury Adam Eckhart. And they're like, he must have had a tracker chip thing too. But how did Mark know? And then they go home, go back to Mark's place, and she gets a call from Daddy, and they're like, Casey's really sick. She needs to shift. You have to come home now. We're sending out Vic and to keep going with the search thing.
Right.
But you got to come home. And she's like, fine. So, and then she sees a scar on the back of Dan Painter's neck. And she's like, Dan Painter, you're coming with us. And he's like, okay. So then they go home.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we need Casey out of the house to talk. Like, so we can talk, like cut this chip out of the back of Dan Painter's neck. Plus also talk to him without Casey overhearing. Ethan and Jace, Wonder Twins, ahoy, come and take Casey. I don't know what their actual slogan is. I don't know what the
Wonder Twins ahoy works.
Yes, so it's now Wonder Twins ahoy. So they take Casey for a walk and Dr. Carver is there. And he cuts the chip out of Dan Painter's neck. Oh, also we find out that Manx is being declawed. That is her punishment. So they're ripping her fingernails out, which is also her claws when she like cats, because they come from the same place. Yeah. So now she literally can't really much like when she's a cat. She can't protect herself anymore because all she's got is her teeth, which sounds like a lot. If she's versing a human, sure, teeth is enough. If she was trying to protect herself from another cat, not so much because they got claws. They're talking to Dan Painter and he's like, oh, it must have been a thing, like must have been this one time when blah. And they're like, okay, well, now we know when you got a chip. What the fuck? Let's chat them all. But then they hear, help me, help. So they all yeet outside and Jace is like torn, like arm is torn to shreds and he's carrying Casey and she's passed out and they're like, what the fuck? He's like, there's 4 cats and there's Alex Malone and they're doing there's 4 cats. 3 are in cat form. One's Alex Malone, which is Calvin Malone's son. They're here to take Casey. Ethan told me to bring her back and he was going to hold them off. And they're like, okay, Owen, take the girl and then shift and follow us in cat form. And then so Faith and Daddy strip. Like, Faith, like, breaks every item of clothing she has. Like, honestly, I mean, I get that it's normal, but as a human, it's still freaking weird to think that she's standing there in her backyard with her parents and her her brother.
Yeah.
And
just
you know, and a doctor and a random thing, and she's just like Superman's a shirt off and like rips the bra off and like
Did you hear that?
I think how faintly I heard that is what made it even creepier. But yeah, so like her and Daddy stripped down. Also, like, it's also freaking weird that she like has actual memory of seeing her dad's wang because he's also getting naked right in front of her now as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know logically, like, I probably have seen my dad naked before. Like, you've probably seen your dad naked before. Because when you're little, your parents don't care. But like, Stixie and I had the conversation recently, like, I mean, like, we don't go out of our way to be naked in front of the kids, but it's like if they walk in and we're like post shower or something, it's like, they're little, like, who cares? And I said to him, like, you should probably start caring. The last thing that girl needs is memory of your penis.
Yeah.
Like, but Faith has she has not just like distant memory, she has modern memory of her dad's penis as displayed here. Like, she doesn't mention it. She doesn't mention her dad's penis, but she guarantees she sees it. She knows.
She's getting updates.
Yes.
On what Daddy's dongle looks like.
I mean, I am perfectly happy not knowing details. Twitch chat. This feels like a weird time to tune in talking about dad's dingus. Yes, you picked a great time to tune in. But yeah, so her and Daddy strip and shift into cats, and because because
also now Daddy knows what she.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well. Yeah,
because that's like in the Mercy series, one line that like doesn't get crossed.
Adam shifts elsewhere. Or Jesse leaves the room.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think even Mercy really strips in front of Jesse if she can absolutely help it.
Or like Jesse turns around.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I get that seeing each other naked is like par for the course when you're a shifter.
Yeah.
But like, you can get naked in the same space without looking or being in each other's eyesight.
Yeah.
Just turn back to back.
Yeah.
But anyway, Faith is like the quickest shifter. I thought this is also something that you would appreciate about this series is the shifts don't take 15 minutes. A slow shift is about 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So like at least like they can shift in time for it to actually be helpful in situations. Because also if they didn't forget about the 4th cat, them being cats would have been helpful here.
Like, I think I've kind of changed my position on like how much I mind slow shifting.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind it as much anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, 12 books of Mercy Thompson now?
Yeah, it kind of like softened me to the idea.
I know, I still think though 15 minutes is way too long.
I think it's way too long. I think what it is I'm less like opposed to the idea of it being painful rather than it taking like 15 minutes is just so long.
Yeah, like this is still like, I mean, like there's situations like in the last book where Faith is like, we don't have time to shift. He's being drug away. Like, you know, whereas like this situation is like, we got time to do a really quick shift and then run really fast, you know?
Yeah.
And with this as well, like you don't have all of the, like the most that they do post shift generally is like a cat stretch usually.
Yeah.
They're just like, like when you first get up in the morning and you do a stretch.
Yeah.
So Faith turns quickest because she can shift the fastest out of all the cats.
Whereas like in the Mercy books, it's such a fucking ordeal.
Yeah, like her dad is mid-shift and like she rubs her head against his flank because he's got a flank. He's just not hairy yet.
Honestly, when you think about it, in the Mercy books, it's kind of a miracle that anybody ever fights in wolf form. Pretty much the only way it happens is if like somebody was already there.
Yeah,
or if like they were driving to wherever they're fighting and somebody's just like shifting in the car.
Yeah, like in this as well, like the shifting doesn't sound as dread inducing either. It kind of like the way it's described, it's kind of feels like it's described more like, when you go to the chiropractor and they crack all your back, like it hurts, but it's kind of also like, ooh, that kind of feels nice after the fact,
Yeah. Whereas like in Mercy, it's like
it's torture.
Yeah, it's like, don't touch me for an hour.
Yeah. But yeah, so Faith is running and she's like, her ears are doing all the swivel because, as we're reminded many times as well, scent is useless for a cat outside of identifying people.
Yeah.
Like they track with their ears and their eyes. So it's like,
hey, check, how's
like,
it going?
Hey. So yeah, she's like, oh, there they are. So he runs underneath. It's like badass, like with a giant stick, and he's just like, back up, Alex. And Alex is like, we just want the girl. We just want her.
Also good to know that we're a thing on YouTube right now.
Yes.
Sorry.
And so Faith jumps on one of the cats that is attacking Ethan or trying to.
Yes.
And then Daddy runs up behind her and jumps on the other one because there's two cats and Alex. If you're thinking there's something wrong with my math, it's okay. It's on purpose. And Ethan's like, no, you will not get Casey, blah. And Alex is like, but no. And then Faith is like, wait a second. Oh, and then Ethan's like, maybe we should just take all three of these guys to the cage. What do you think? And then it clicks with Faith, and she's like, hang on, Jay said that there was 4. And before she even has time to process the thought, a cat leaps from a tree branch and lands on top of Ethan. And he's like trying to grab his branch again, and he's about to hit the cat with the branch. And then it unsheathes its claws and slits his throat.
Yep. Sad face.
And it's really sad as well because, luckily, Ethan, also being a cat, he understands cat body language like nobody's business. So he the fact that they can't speak to him right now, because he doesn't die straight away. When you get your throat slit, even if you die pretty quickly, you don't die straight away. You're alive for a minute there.
Yeah.
So yeah, Alex, Malone, and the 3 cats, they all bolt the fuck out. Oh, no, they don't. They don't. Alex and the 2 cats that Faith and Daddy had pinned, they yeet the fuck away because Daddy's already pounced on the other one and torn its throat out.
Mm-hmm.
The one that killed Ethan, he tore his throat out. And Daddy and Faith, they're like rubbing up against Ethan with their cat heads, and they're like, meow.
Yeah.
And they're all sad, and Ethan's trying to say, Faith, help me, and then he dies.
Yeah.
And Daddy lets out a big fat roar, and it's sad.
Yeah, it's sad. It didn't make me cry because I think how we read them in succession, it would have
closer together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we didn't get a lot of Ethan last book. Oh, Ethan also helped Faith in the investigation. So we did get a bit of Ethan before he died in this book. But yeah, we get a lot more of their relationship in the earlier books. So Faith and Daddy shift back to human, and Daddy carries him back. So they're just walking through the fucking woods, butt naked. Daddy's carrying Ethan, and he's crying the whole way. Not sobbing, just silent, the streaming silent tear type thing. And then Owen, this is probably the bit that devastated me the most.
So while you were being devastated, I was just really fucked. I don't know, the image of just naked daddy and Faith.
Oh no, that bit, I was like, what the fuck? But then when Owen gets there, because Owen took Casey inside the house and then shifted and came after them, and when he gets to them, and he's trying to like see Ethan's body.
Yeah, I know.
Dad just doesn't stop, and I'm just like, oh, like, because like also I have a cat, so I know exactly what I know exactly what the body language would be.
Yeah.
And I'm picturing it just in a giant black form.
Right.
And I'm just like, that's the most devastating thing.
Yeah, I know.
It's just this cat, and he's sad because his brother's dead.
Yeah.
And so then they get back to the house, and everyone starts coming out, and then Mum walks out, and she's just wiping her hands on her apron, and then she sees him, and she freaks out. Jace comes out, and he sees the body, and he just storms off to the guest house. The doctor comes out. Everyone's crying. It's all very sad.
Yeah.
Ethan gets taken inside and laid on the lounge, and Mum's there. And then Mum and Faith start talking, and Mum's like, Faith, you need to go have a shower. You know, I can't handle seeing any more blood today. And Faith's like, Mum, I got all the blood on me off of you. Maybe you should go shower too. And she's like, oh, crap. So then, you know, they go shower. They all have their own little breakdown bits. Casey's still passed out. Daddy's now on the phone, and he's fucking furious. He's on the phone to Blackwell, who is currently heading up the Territorial Council until, like, the election.
Yeah.
Because he's, and he's like, I won't have him alone killed. And he's like, now, Greg. It was a mission that was approved by the council. I think I did a pretty good Blackwell just then.
Yeah, you did.
And he's furious. He's like, did you approve the murdering of my son? It was not a diplomatic mission. You don't sneak through an alpha's back fence in cat form, you know, on a diplomatic mission.
Yeah.
So there's all this arguing, and Daddy's like, we're going to war. And so, yeah, everyone's fucking furious. All like the normal post-death stuff happens as well, having to call people and tell them, which isn't fun. So we get to live with that for a little while. And then Casey wakes up.
Yep.
And they're like, you need to get her to shift, or Dr. Carver's going to have to force her to shift, because they can inject her with adrenaline and force a shift, but that'll do more psychological damage. So Faith goes in and convinces her to shift. They do
What pride is he part of? Dr. Carver?
He's part of their pride.
Okay.
He just lives somewhere else in the big ass fucking territory.
Okay.
Yeah, he used to be one of Daddy's enforcers as well.
Okay.
And so, because she said to Faith as well, I want you to shift with me.
Yeah.
In case, you know, I go crazy. So they lock them, so they close the door in Casey's room. They both shift. Casey ends up she eats something and then she falls asleep. And Faith is like, okay, well, I got shit to do. So she leaves. And honestly, I can't remember too much of what happens here. I think, is this where she goes to Jace? I think so. Be. Yeah, she's like, I'm going to go check up on Jace. So she goes out to the guest house.
Jace is doing great.
Drinking. Yeah.
He's having a grand old time.
He's like, I'm going to have to leave. And they're like, and Faith is like, why the fuck would you leave? And he's like, because I'm only here because of Ethan. And she's like, no, you don't have to leave. And then he's like, I'm so sad right now. And she's like, I'm so sad too. And he's like, I love you, Faith. And she's like, wait, what? And then he kisses her and then they have sex. Oh, this is after they've also both been drinking a shit ton pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then... yeah, so that happens,
which is great.
Yep, and then Faith is like, and then Faith has a meltdown afterwards, and she starts crying. Jason's like, "No, we didn't do anything wrong. It's okay. We were there for each other." All that stuff. It's like, meanwhile, Faith's boyfriend is missing. So like you didn't do anything wrong, Joe. You did, but not as bad as Faith did. You both did the wrong thing, but it's also understandable. So what do you think about the situation in which the love triangle officially becomes a triangle?
Like, it's weird.
It's realistic how it happens.
It's realistic how it happens, but it's weird also because I'm like, well, my first thought was like, well, Mark's gonna murder him. So R.I.P. Jace.
Yep.
I was like, Jace is gonna die. And then I was also like, I was mostly just like, poor Jace, because the fact that it happened at all, like, I was mostly just like, it's not fair to Jace, because the way that it happened, like, because I get that, like, Faith is upset too, obviously, because her brother died, but I don't care about her. I only care about Jace. I only care about the fact that Jace is sad. So I was like, Faith, you manipulative bitch. Because if it
took
happened,
advantage about Jace.
that's how I felt about it. I was like, because you took advantage of the fact that he was sad and drinking. He couldn't consent to you being a bitch, you know? Like, that's how I felt about it. I was like, he couldn't consent to your, like, treachery. And what? What? I'm not being silly. Faith is a piece of shit. So, like, that's where I was. Because, like, Faith knew that, like, Jace was into her, and, like, she went and she did the thing, which was manipulative as fuck, but I also get it because, like, she's really sad, and she knew that, like, that would happen, which makes her a piece of shit.
Yep.
But an understandable piece of shit.
Yeah, it's hard because you don't want to get. It's hard because you don't want to, like, our logical brain is like, but here's all of the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Give me a second. I just need to bop someone because they're being rude about people. Okay, I'm done.
Because it's a very understandable situation.
Yes.
Even from the Faith side of things.
Yeah. I don't want to give it the benefit of the doubt, but, like, my logical brain is like, but benefit.
But from, like, a human standpoint, it's, like, one of the more logical ways for, like, the love triangle to start. But then I'm also like, you know, it's one of the most manipulative things you could have done to Jace in that situation.
Yep.
So, which is why I didn't like it.
Yeah, but post-sex and, like, mid-argument, Dr. Carver walks into the guest house because they're not in a bedroom. They're in the living room, which is, like, and the guest house has pretty open plan. So, like, you open the front door and there it is.
Yep.
So he walks in and he's like, well, yeah, you two might want to both quickly go shower.
Yeah.
Because people will smell it. And then you guys are wanted in Greg's office, which is Daddy.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, fuck. And she's like, please don't tell anyone. And Dr. Carver's just like, look, you need to sort out what the fuck you want, Faith. And until then, lips are sealed, but you need to sort this shit out before it becomes an issue. He's like, but I get it, but still. So then Faith runs and has a shower, and then she's like, Daddy, I need to go look for Mark. And he's like, I know, and then after Ethan's funeral, we're going to declare war. So war is being declared and whatnot. So she goes back to her room to pack, and then Casey walks out of her own bedroom as a cat, and she's fucking furious.
Because
she's
Faith left.
Because Faith left.
Yeah.
And Faith is like, I had shit to do. I had Jace's to fuck. Like, I don't know what you want from me.
But also it's understandable because this traumatized girl who trusted Faith not to leave her while she was a cat.
Left her. She was like, you know, don't let me murder people. And Faith was like, of course I won't let you murder people. And then Faith just left her alone
to murder people potentially. And then she was like, hey,
Yeah.
I asked you to make sure that I don't murder people because every other time I've been a cat, I've like eaten people by accident. And then Faith is like, but I had to go cheat on my boyfriend. Why don't you understand that? And then she's like, what? And then Faith is like, what? And then she's like, what? And then they're like, what?
Okay, so this isn't a conversation that actually happened. It's like this was all done by eye contact.
Yeah,
okay,
basically.
people.
But that's the gist of the eye contact, okay? And Faith doesn't get it. Faith doesn't get why the 13-year-old didn't want to eat people.
Yeah, and then so impressively though, Casey manages to remain a 13-year-old girl while being a cat and storms back into a room and slams her bedroom door. And then Faith is about to turn around and walk away.
Casey.
Yeah. And then Faith is about to turn around and go into her room to pack, but then she hears like popping sounds. So she's like, oh, she's shifting. Okay. Oh, she's doing it all on her own. Good girl, Casey. So then Casey walks out and she's like, you left me. And she's like, I'm sorry. I had shit to do. And she's like, okay, so what happened? And they're like, well, what's the last thing you remember? And she's like, I was on a walk with Jason and Ethan, and then there were cats. How is everyone okay? Is Jace okay? Where's Ethan? And Faith is like, no one's told her yet. And it's like, well, when the fuck did you expect people to tell her, Faith? She was passed out, and then immediately once she regained consciousness, she turned into a cat and has been asleep. And Faith is like, well, I can't lie to her. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, you're doing the right thing here, Faith. This is one time where Faith made the right decision.
Yep, one time. The one time.
Because Faith is also like, look, if I don't tell her the truth, she's going to find out. Like, she's going to find out in half an hour anyway that Ethan's dead, you know, because his body's in the next room.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, I think Ethan's out in the barn now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, she's going to find out, and she's going to know that Faith didn't tell her. So then Faith is like, I can't break that trust. So she's like, look, Ethan got his throat slashed and he's dead. And she didn't say it like that, but yeah.
She's like, Ethan did his doodle.
And Casey's like, this is all my fault. And it's like, no, it's not your fault. And I can see why Casey's like, this is all my fault, because if she wasn't there, then Ethan would be alive, because no one would be trying to take her. But also, it's not your fault that other people are dicks, Casey.
Yeah.
Just so you know. And she's like, no, he died a hero.
If anything, it's Faith's fault because she won't have babies. And if that wasn't happening, then nobody would be starting a war over a different Tabby.
Yeah.
They wouldn't, because they wouldn't be trying to keep the baby Tabby to replace Faith.
Well, also...
So it's Faith's fault for not wanting to get pregnant.
Well, also, if she was a better Tabby, Malone wouldn't have the ground, like the political power that he does.
Yeah.
Everyone else, a bunch of other alphas see him as weak because he's letting his daughter dictate.
Yeah. So it's all Faith's fault when you think about it.
It is all Faith's fault.
It's all Faith's fault. Faith is a piece of shit.
Faith
killed her brother indirectly, but she did.
Yep.
Well, I just like when you think about it, the plot of this book is
when you weave it all back. Yeah,
you can literally weave it all back to Faith just being a brat.
Well, also, if Faith didn't, run off and try to be human for a few years, she wouldn't have infected her boyfriend and then had to kill him, and then she wouldn't have been on trial in Montana. So either, okay, there's a 50-50 chance Casey's life would have been far worse if not for Faith, because, maybe, Zeke Radley would have actually gotten her and, turned her into his little sex kitten. Or maybe one of the other prides would have sussed the situation out, found her, and rescued her, and they wouldn't have anything to do with Casey. So, either way.
Or Elias.
So, Casey. Yes, all that. So, and he would have gone bear crazy, protecting the little precious kitten.
Because Elias brought her to them anyway. So if there would have been nobody to find her, Elias would have just kept her.
And she probably would have stayed a cat forever, but Elias is a bear. He can deal with a cat. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. So she would have been fine either way. And every problem is literally Faith's fault. You know what? That's bad writing. Don't make everything literally come down to an attitude problem with your protagonist. Like, don't make every problem in your book come down to where if your protagonist would just stop being a brat and would stop stomping off to her room, it would be fixed.
Yeah.
That needs to not be the book. Like, what's the
Yeah.
issue? Faith is an asshole. That's
Pretty
the book.
much. So then Daddy's like, you have until Ethan's funeral to find a Mark type thing.
Like, why is Mark in exile? Faith is a brat.
Yes. I mean, like, I don't care that he's in exile, though.
I don't, but that's why he's in exile.
Yeah. Because Daddy's like, we need to find a Mark. We need him. One, because, you know, I'm not losing another son. Because he sees Mark as a son, and I don't know why. But, and two, because, you know, we kind of need him because he's one of our strongest fighters. So go get him. And Faith's like, I'm going to go get him. So then Faith goes back to Free Zone with Dan, Painter, and I don't know if any of the others go as well. And then she meets up with Vic, and then they're like, we're sad, and they hug and all that stuff. And then because Ben Feldman has also said, if you bring me the proofs that not Kevin Malone,
That you didn't ship me.
Yeah, that Kevin Mitchell is responsible for this, I'll be a thing. So they're like, well, we need to go get a proof then. So then I think they break into, I can't remember how they get to this point, but they break into his house. They ask, like, Ben's like, oh, fine, I'll take you to where he lives. So they break into his house and they find, because Michael did research and found that these are things that are expensive as fuck and all this shit. And they find a chip tracking device thing. And they're like, is this proof enough? And he's like, well, what's that? Like, that could be literally anything. And part of you is like, don't be a dumb Ben, but also, like, you know, he's known Kevin for months now and has built a trust with him. So it's also like, you know, I get it too. Like, if someone was accusing one of my friends of doing something shady, I'd want actual proof. You know? So they're like, fine, there has to be an email trace somewhere. So they do an email search through his emails, and they find the order form. And they also find the spreadsheet with everyone's tracking numbers. And Ben's like, grrr. And he
because for some reason it's not fucking encrypted.
I know, right? Like, if you, okay,
hey, people.
espionage advice from Book Club with Bay after we confirm it.
What?
I have a question. More science from you.
Okay.
If you were to track a bunch of people, you know, illegally with tracking chips, and you were to, you know, would you, one, leave an email trace of it easily accessible?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Two, would you leave just an unencrypted, like, Excel spreadsheet of it on your computer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd leave it in Google Docs.
You'd leave it in Google Docs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a hell no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's fucking dumb.
To be fair, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, like, also, I mean, taking into account that this was also, like, written over a decade ago, I think people were still tech savvy enough to go. Like, he didn't even have a password on his computer because Faith got in.
Yeah, I know.
He didn't even have a login password.
You know what would have been, like, weirdly safer? To actually just have it, like, in a written on paper. To have it written.
They went through his filing cabinet.
But I know I was gonna say to have it written on paper and hidden somewhere, like in your house.
Oh, you know how, like, most, like, lounge cushions have a zipper at the back so you can clean the upholstery?
Yeah.
Like, that's really something.
Inside the cushion.
Yeah.
No one's gonna look inside your lounge cushion.
Like, you could have it hidden
now,
somewhere
but
really freaking random in your house that makes no sense to look.
Or, you know, you have like an empty sauce bottle or something that isn't clear, obviously, and you just leave the lid dirty so it
Yeah,
looks
like,
it's still got sauce in
put
it,
it in
and then
like
you
a-
put it in.
Put it in a box of cereal, something.
Yeah, put it in an opaque bottle
Literally.
in your pantry.
Easily accessible Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, yeah, like
Literally anyone else.
yeah, just anything else, and make sure it's coded.
Yeah,
Dumbass.
you don't have
Mom.
Dan Painter, 1st of March, 2005, tracking number 85321.
Right.
Okay, I don't actually. All I know is Dan Painter. The rest of the information, don't know. But then they're like, okay, excellent. So, and Mark's name is at the bottom of the list, and they're like, they chipped Mark. So they put in his chip code, and it's in the house. And they're like, okay, maybe that turns out they were trying to chip him when they attacked him.
Yeah.
And they weren't trying to kill him; they were trying to chip him. Probably to we work out later. It's to see if he's sneaking back into the territory to see
To
Faith,
spy on
pretty
them.
much.
Yeah.
But nope. So then they search for Adam Eckhart's chip because Mark took it. And then and then they leave the house and go back to Mark's, and they're like, okay, like they're prepping everything. Dr. Carver's there because he's like came with them to be like, you know, well, if he's still alive, he's going to need medical attention because he lost a lot of fucking blood and it's below freezing temperatures.
Yeah.
And it's been days now. Jace is there as well. I'm like, I don't know why they let Jace go, but they let Jace go. So
Even though Mark's gonna kill him.
yeah. So they're like, and then when they're at Mark's house, Kevin calls and he's like, well, Faith, blah, blah, blah. Your boyfriend, I've got a boyfriend of yours and this and that. Like, there's small talk and dancing around in case Faith's just like, cut the crap, where's Mark? And they're like, I've got him, you know, blah, blah, blah. I know you're involved. I smelled you on Adam Eckhart. We dug him up and we tracked his chip and found the Mark. And it turns out that's true. He wasn't bluffing there.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, fuck. And he's like, I'm going to meet you at my house in an hour. And they're like, well, that's not good because, you know, you'll know we went to your house. Because he's currently at Pete Yarnell's house. Because also Pete Yarnell's pissed because Faith beat the crap out of him the day before. So they're like, so they decide they're going to, like, you know, go there. And so, like, Dr. Carver's in the car. Jace and Dan are there as well. And their role is to sneak through the back door while Faith goes to the front door.
Yeah.
So Faith goes in. And she's like, hi, I bet you weren't expecting to see me. Oh, but wait, you don't look surprised to see me. And he's like, no, I don't. And so, like, fight, and then Faith gets tied up, and then there's, like, rapey jokes, you know, because what's kidnapping a chick without rapey jokes, I guess. Have you ever noticed every single time a girl is in a vulnerable situation in an urban fantasy book, someone feels her up?
Yeah.
He's like, I can't wait to have my turn with you.
Why is everybody so rapey?
Like,
How come no female ever gets kidnapped for practical reasons? What's that about?
I mean, but
To kidnap somebody.
believe it or not, you can be a bad guy without being rapey.
So you can sell her into rape slavery.
What?
Am I wrong?
Yes.
I am.
Yes.
Explain to me how I'm wrong.
Because there are a ton of other reasons to kidnap
No,
somebody.
kidnap a woman specifically.
Ransom?
Yes.
What is another reason?
Ransom's one.
Ransom. Political.
Who's not fair?
You can't just say things like that.
People's gonna get us kicked off of YouTube.
People
again.
is going to get us kicked off of YouTube. People does not speak for this channel or for me.
People is also speaking facetiously.
Yes, people is speaking facetiously. Even if he's about to be like, no, I'm not. He is. Build your zoo.
I have strong opinions.
Anyway.
So then they're like, Jace is tied up in the back room and this and that, and then Faith manages to get past them first, before she gets all tied up and shit. She gets past them and runs into Mark's room, and there's someone else in there, and she's like, oh no, there's someone else here. Because they're only expecting 2 people. And it's Dan, and she's like, Dan, you got in. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, for a second there, I thought you were one of the bad guys. And he's like, actually, I kind of am. And then Faith gets knocked out from behind, and then she wakes up in the lounge room. She's all tied up, and
Yeah.
rapey jokes ensue.
Yeah.
And she's like, Dan, how could you do this? And he's like, they offered me something better. She's like, you only had to behave for 8 more months, and then you could be a thing. And he's like, yeah, but a war's coming, and blah blah blah. And they're like, and she's like, how dumb fucking are you? They weren't going to freaking. She's like, my father is the only one who would accept it straight into his fucking pride. Not even my uncle would, just so you know.
Yeah.
And we like him. She's like, you were going to end up dead. And then she looks at Kevin and she's like, how was it going to happen? Was he just going to go missing or blah? Or like, was it going to be an attack? And Dan's sitting there like, well, I think I might have fucked up, but I've committed to this role and I must carry on type thing. And they're like, okay, so we're going to ask you questions and then we're going to torture you every time you don't answer. And she's like, what the fuck? And they're like, how did Ryan get out of his cage? And she's like, wait, what? They're like, did your mother let him out? And she's like, wait, what? And in her head, she's like, actually, that makes sense. I can't believe I didn't think of that earlier.
Yeah.
It's like, of course your mum will let him the fuck out. Like, how else did he get out of the fucking cage? Of course mummy let him out, you dickhead.
Yeah.
Daddy already knows, okay? He already knows. He just hasn't brought it up. Actually, I mean, I don't know if it gets confirmed that Daddy knows, but like, Daddy's not stupid. He knows his wife let Ryan out of the cage.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then they're like, fine. Oh, actually, they're like, we need the doctor too. The doctor's outside. Hey, Dan, go lure him in. And so then they lure him in. And this is how you do a relatively timeless pop culture reference. If you're not planning on, giving your books a specific date, you make a Looney Tunes reference.
Oh yeah, Looney Tunes references are good.
Because they will uphold.
Yes, they will. Looney Tunes are timeless.
Yep. So they're like, so Pete Yarnell's like,
at least they had better be timeless.
I'm hunting rabbits. I know, right? Can you imagine if they're not? Can you imagine if 40 years from now you made a Looney Tunes reference and your grandkids just looked at you like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like, wow, you're old, and you're like, how dare you?
Because also, for those of you who don't know, Faye, I just called you Faye. I'm sorry. Faye's plan for when she is, a strong, independent woman in her own house, being a kept woman, is she's going to have fainting couches strategically placed throughout the entire house, so she can faint every time something mildly traumatic
strategically
happens.
placed throughout my entire house, so that I can. I know you don't actually have a real house if you don't have a real house if you don't have that. You have to have them.
Especially if you're going to be living there, because how else can you be dramatic if you can't fall into a fainting couch every time?
Exactly. How can you be dramatic if you can't strategically fall into fainting couches every time you need to be dramatic? I need to be a dramatic.
Yeah, he can't argue with that.
Yeah, oh my Lanta. I do declare.
Wait, Bae, how will the fainting couches fit in with your Jewish nana?
With my Jewish nana thing?
Yeah.
Oh, no. We'll work it out.
Because that's more of a Southern Belle thing, isn't it?
It's not. We'll work it out.
Maybe the fainting couches can be for your children and the Jewish nana can be for your grandchildren.
We have to keep the fainting couches. They can't leave.
You just can't use them while your grandchildren are in the room.
We will have to use them differently around the grandchildren. That's all.
That caught his attention.
What?
I have a theory about it.
Oh yeah, I have not told him about that.
That we
doesn't-
can go into that later.
Yeah, I'll tell him later.
Yeah, so Dr. Carver comes in and they're like, "What's up, Doc?" and knocks him out. And they're like, and Faith is like, "No!" And then so they're like, "Well, fine. If you're not gonna tell us, we'll torture Mark then, because now he's awake." So they drag Mark out, and he's awake. And so they're like, "We're gonna torture him every time you don't answer a question." Faith is like, "Fuck you! I can partially shift my arm." So she cuts the head masking tape off, or duct tape, whatever. She cuts that off, and she's like, "Meow!" And well, actually, she's human throat, so she slashes people, and then Mark and her fight, and the thing happens, and then it ends up with Dan Painter finally joins the right side, and he gets his skull crushed in for it. But Kevin and Pete Yarnell are dead, and Mark's still alive.
Yep, unfortunately.
And Faith's right wrist is broken, which is an important thing to remember the next book, because next book takes place about a week and a half later.
Yeah.
So then they're like, "Well, fuck." So then they go and get Jason, Dr. Carver, and everyone's like, they're all sore, but they're fine. And now we're up to the funeral.
Yep.
And poor Holly. Holly's like, "Why doesn't anyone like me? And what the fuck happened to Faith?" Because also Holly doesn't know that they're cats, because she's human. So she doesn't know that they're cats. And so they told her that Ethan was climbing the apple tree and fell out and broke his neck. And she's like, "What the fuck was Ethan doing in the tree?" And they're like, "Oh, just being Ethan. You know what he was like." And Holly's like, "Well, not really, because I'd never spend any time with you guys, because I feel like you all hate me. But anyway." And then Mark's back. They're like, fuck the council. Mark's coming back. So Mark's back at the ranch. Ryan rocked up for the funeral, and everyone's just allowing that to happen because it's a sad day. And then they've decided to not do a war yet. Oh, because also Faith faced off with Daddy, and she was like, "It's not time for war yet, Daddy." They're like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Calvin Malone's expecting it, and this and that, and rah, and officially you'll be throwing the first punch, and we need allies and blah." So they're like, "Okay, we shall postpone war." So war has been postponed. And then she's comforting Casey, and then she hears Ethan's phone ring with, "She fucking hates me." And she's like, "Oh, fuck, I guess I better tell Angela that her boyfriend's dead." So she answers the phone, and she's like, "Hello." And Angela's like, "Who's this? I'm looking for Ethan." And she's like, "Oh, it's Faith, his sister." And she's like, "Oh, thank goodness he's not cheating on me. Where is he? I need to talk to him." And she's like, "He's dead. He fell out of a tree." And she's like, "Oh, okay, well, I don't know if this is the right time to tell you this, but I'm pregnant." And then the book ends.
Dun, 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 etc.
So Ethan's going to become a posthumous dad.
Yep. And with all that drama, both in book and otherwise, that is that. And so we're going to be talking about Strange book in the Strange Angel series tomorrow. Is that the last book or it's the fourth book?
That's the last book.
The last book. We're almost done.
I think it's the last book. If there's only 5 books, then it's the
we're
last
done
one.
tomorrow. We get to be done.
I know, but that means next week we get to Disaster.
What?
That means though that next week we get to Disaster.
I know, but then it's fun bad book week again.
Hopefully it's fun.
Hopefully it's fun. So with all of that said, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll get hopefully everything sorted and stitched up back together for YouTube so that you have the whole this stream. But anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow night. And bye guys.